movement overrides pain. Just remember that. If that's all you take from this episode, movement overrides pain. That's why I'm trying to get people moving as soon as possible. And that's why I was trying to get moving as soon as possible. But everything I did like locked me into spasm, or I don't even know what it was. It was horrific. But the vibration plate gave me a few minutes of reprieve. I was in so much pain though that the vibration going through those segments of my spine was like intolerable some days. So I would just do the lowest setting, maybe like 1 to 2 minutes. Lowest setting, 1 to 2 minutes, till I worked myself up to the full 9 minutes. I still never go above the setting of 1. I have no idea how hardcore that vibration plate goes, that power plate. I love it though. I'm taking it to Arizona. I love it. This thing saved my ass, literally. So that was step 1. I'm like, I'm going to get on the vibration plate. Step 2 was sauna. And the way I used it was not even to sit there and sweat because sitting was so uncomfortable. I used it to heat up my tissues so that I can move. Now, infrared penetrates up to 2 inches. And of course it's summer, so I'm going outside a lot to get that infrared. That's the best infrared. But I would go into the sauna. I have a sauna space sauna, which is like the red bulbs. And those are like lizard lamps. Those would directly heat my spine, which felt really, really good and give me red light and give me infrared. And then I have a sunlighten sauna that's far infrared. So it's just a dark box. It's like the box that you walk into. And that gave me a different kind of relief. So I was utilizing sauna. And then I would go for walks. And so sauna was very, very helpful in getting the, just that like super bad locked up feeling to give me, I'm going to go do it actually after I get off this podcast. The sauna is like the warm up. It warms up the tissues. So that gave me really, really great relief too. All of the relief was momentary, it was just for a time period, but it was enough to open a window of opportunity to get moving. So I'm sharing all this with you because I'm hoping to be teaching you something in the process here. Because the thing that we do when we get into pain is our muscles splint and then we lock down. And then in that process, all kinds of, like in my case, I was adjusted and that aggravated whatever was going on in there. And then you get this sort of cytokine storm where the body's trying to come in and heal, or, like say you slip a disc. If you've got you don't really slip a disc, you bulge a disc, but say you get a disc herniation, half of the battle there is the chemical soup that comes in trying to heal the area. But what it brings with it is a lot of inflammatory markers. And so mobility, moving is what flushes that out, gets new nutrients in, and flushes out the bad stuff. Right? The metabolites. So we got to be moving. So that was how I kept myself moving, was vibration and heat, those 2 things. Now, heating pad, bathtub, you bet. I was doing all of it. So good on that. Another thing that really helped me was I have a red light bed. I have a big red light bed, like a clinical grade red light bed. And again, I know this is not in everybody's budget or in the space in their home, but if you are in the market for one, I absolutely adore my red light bed. I will make sure the link is in the show notes and you can talk to somebody there and to see if that's right for you. Love the red light bed. Could not get in the red light bed initially because I have one that's a little bit of a concave surface. I would highly encourage you, if you have chronic pain or spinal pain, to get the flat one. I wish I had. He tried to talk me into the flat one. I didn't do it. And you bet I wish I had during that, because getting in and out of that curved surface was very difficult when I was in acute pain and when it was really, really bad. But the red light bed, very helpful, I believe. I also have a PEMF mat. Now, I used to use a PEMF mat that, you can buy. I think higher dose is the one that I promoted in the past. The PEMF mat I got through Da Vinci, which is where I got my red light bed through. And this one is the Superhuman Protocol. So if you've heard of the Superhuman Protocol, it's the red light bed, it's the PEMF mat, it's a higher ticket PEMF mat, and then there's an oxygen combo that you do. So I did all of that just to try to open the window again so that I could move. I was trying to speed up mitochondrial health and, genesis, and try to get things moving. So apparently I was throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. And each one of those things had to happen in phases, because I was, like I said, I was so acutely tender and in pain that nothing was easy. So I was doing what I could as I could. So I'm doing all of that. Those are all passive care, right? Those are all things that are done to me. I'm not actually moving or exercising. I'm just standing on things or laying in things or sitting in things, right? I'm not actually doing anything. But sometimes we need that passive care initially to get over the hump. So I was doing all that with the intention of movement. Now, the movement I was doing when I said I had those windows open was walking. That was the best I could do. So I'm hobbling around the farm as best I can on the most even surfaces that we have out here so that I'm not all over uneven surfaces. And I worked really, really hard to just keep some mobility up. Then, this is interesting. I decided, okay, I definitely need some estrogen, but instead of going on estrogen, I'm going to go back on testosterone because it's anabolic and it's going to give me an opportunity to heal. Because often when people are low testosterone and they need to heal, they will not heal adequately unless they have it. So I went on it, and I'm not sure what happened, and I don't know if it's related. And it's very interesting because normally I have found clinically and personally that the use of therapeutic testosterone replacement therapy in women and men really help alleviate pain. I did a whole podcast on that too. You can learn about that, and we'll put that in the show notes. And I think it ramped up my pain in this case. I do not know why. I still haven't figured that out, but I felt like my pain I had finally gotten it to a place where I was like, okay, I can breathe. I'm not great, but I can breathe. I'm not ready to go back in the gym yet, but I can breathe. I'm doing my rehab on the floor every night. I'm, doing some mobility. I'm doing what I can here. I still do not feel confident enough to even foam roll over the region of my mid back, but I'm getting better. And all of a sudden I go right back up to like an 8 or 9 out of 10, the days that I use the testosterone replacement therapy. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening to me? So I went off of it, and a couple days later, my pain went back down to the roar, not a dull roar, but the roar that it was, not the high roar, but back to, where I had started before I tried the testosterone. So who knows? Obviously I need it. I'm low. So I'm going to go back on it again, maybe at a lower dose. I'm going to play with that later. Let me just get you up to date to where I'm at. So here's what I did. I studied classical Pilates for years and years and years, and I have always used it throughout the years to get out of pain when I'm really bad. And I have a reformer. I have a beautiful Gratz, like vintage reformer. It's beautiful. And it sits in my basement, and it was collecting a thick layer of dust also, and I was not using it. And I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't think of it. I look at it and I thought, oh my God, like this is the answer out. This is the ticket out. This is how I'm going to get out of this. I don't know what it was. I was praying. I was crying. It had been such a lousy several weeks. I was having the hardest time. And I was like, this is it. This is going to get me out of here. And I cleaned it off, and I made myself a promise that I was going to lay down on that reformer every single day, whether I could move or not. If I just had to lay there and cry, then I was going to cry, but that I knew what to do because I have trained myself in what to do. And I'm so grateful that I have spent the time and money that I've spent training in Pilates. I'm so grateful that I have spent the time and money training in kettlebells and training in strength training, because it's been so crazy how many times in my life these tools, these are skill sets, and these skill sets and these tools have gotten me out of lurches that I don't know if I would have gotten out of otherwise. Like movement always saves me. It always saves me. Prayer and movement. And the beautiful thing about the reformer is you can pray while you're on it, because it's just this beautiful gliding, carriage that goes up and down, and you got the springs and the foot straps and all the things. And I know how to use it all. So in traditional classical Pilates, there's a very specific repertoire. There's a very specific set of exercises that you do in a specific order. And oh my gosh, you guys, the first day I literally just laid there and cried. And then the second day I came down and I turn on my red lights. I turn down the overhead lights, and I usually play like Radiohead or Led Zeppelin or I don't know, something that I love. And I will just move. And so I could not do the traditional set of exercises in the order. It just was not available to me. So you have to remind yourself what is available to you. And I say this because I could not imagine being a middle-aged woman having this kind of injury and not having a familiarity with movement and exercise and not having enough knowledge to get out of it. If I was like completely deconditioned and I'd had that happen to me, and I had just like walked into a Pilates studio trying to get over it, it would have been such a massive hill to overcome. But because I have the tools available, because I have the skill set, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to like motivate you guys into action. When you're younger, learn some of these things. Learn some things that will help you, like make movement a part of your life so that movement becomes a tool to get you out of a lurch and get you out of, whether it's, gosh, the death of loved ones, the death of my dog, divorces, separations, high stress, battling it out during COVID days. If I didn't have training, if I didn't have these tools available, there's no way I would have made it at all. There's just no way. So I knew what to do. I utilized the movements that were available to me, and I got my ass on that reformer every single day. I have not missed a day, even if I just laid there and did footwork and then got off, or even if I just laid there and like did some extension with the box and then got off, whatever it was. I worked with what was available to me. Slowly but surely, the moves started coming back to me. Slowly but surely, I started remembering the sequence of them, the flow. And it's so cool because you get into a flow state and it's awesome. And if you do it right, you get the springs right. Everything's a flow. Everything's, very specific movements. And so I'm nowhere near, gosh, it's so humbling. I'm nowhere near what I used to be. I have completely lost the ability to do the high level stuff, but man, I have the basics and I'm doing them. So that has been the biggest needle mover for me. And if I didn't have a reformer here, I would have been in a studio doing my best to get one-on-one sessions, would be my advice, is go get one-on-one sessions. If you're really injured or you're coming out of bad injury, I don't think that group classes are the answer. I think that one-on-one sessions are well worth the money to get you over it. And I can't think of a better way to rehab spinal issues than Pilates.